Mets Dream Offseason. We've officially started the offseason. A few days until other teams can start to negotiate with Pete and Edwin. But hey, we're going to talk about what we think the Mets Dream Offseason would look like. Is this going to happen? Probably not. Could it happen? Definitely. We got all the money in the world. It
Why
can
not?
happen. We can make dreams come true. Shout out Steve Cohen. Shout out David Stearns. Before we get going into it, make sure you guys are subscribed to Mets'd. We do appreciate we're going to be uploading all offseason long. Rumors, news, trades, anything that's going on, you're going to want to be here. So make sure you are subscribed. And if you want to listen to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drops a rating, drops a review, download, and subscribe. James, where do you want to start with our Dream Offseason?
I think that there's literally only exactly one place to start. All season, everyone's like, the Mets need a frontline starting pitcher. The Mets need a frontline starting pitcher. We've said it a few times in the show. So far, as this offseason has kind of begun, now it's really here. The best pitcher in baseball is available. You have to go do whatever you can to get him. The Mets' dream offseason starts and ends with Tarik Skubal in the blue and orange next April.
Yeah. I mean, if we get Tarik Skubal and sign him to an extension, if it's like a sign and trade, we might be repeating Juan Soto episode part 2.
Yeah, no, actually, do you want to make that pact right now?
Yeah, I'll make that pact. I'll shake with you. We'll do. Oh man, we're gonna have a all nighter at Ice House in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And we will record the episode as soon as we get home.
Yes, that half before, half after.
Yeah,
that
half
would be
before,
the thing.
half after. Yeah, because that's what it was with Soto. I forgot. It's half before, half after.
It is also just funny that the fact that it is a similar thing. Because again, Juan Soto's not the best hitter in baseball, but he's one of the few. But Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball. The fact that both of these guys can be available in back-to-back off seasons, and as an organization, for all that went wrong this year, the Mets have positioned themselves in both cases to make the best case for both guy to come. And with Soto, it worked. And again, a lot of people don't like the results of the team this year. You can't really say shit about him.
Nope.
And this could be a point where you just bring Tarik Skubal in next year and you have a full season of Nolan McLean. All of a sudden, everything else on the team looks really, really good. You change everything in one shot.
And while people want maybe to not give up as many prospects as you think for Skubal, we know the price is not going to be as high as people think. And the Dodgers are going to get better this offseason. The Blue Jays are going to get better. The Yankees are going to get better. The Phillies are going to get better. You're going to see a lot of teams that were close to winning the World Series, including the team that did, want to improve. And the Mets have to make big improvements. And there's no bigger change to this team that they can make than going out and getting Tarik Skubal.
And it's the kind of thing that in one shot really just revitalizes the whole team. Again, like I said before, you saw it what happened with the Red Sox this year. When you put the real ace on top of a rotation of mostly middle rotation guys, suddenly everybody has a pep in their step. Everyone's holding their shoulders higher. The bullpen gets a little bit more of a break. The offense doesn't have as much pressure on them. And we've talked about this with the Mets for a while, maybe not needing an ace, but it's because the other aces that we were talking about that we thought were available aren't aces either. Like with going out and trading for Tarik Skubal, even with the loss of prospect capital, until even before we talk about the extension, it's the best guy. It changes the whole thing. Like it's not like Dylan Cease, it's not like Framber Valdez, it's not like Michael King, it's not even like Joe Ryan, it's not even like Freddie Peralta.
Yeah.
Like this is a completely different echelon of guy, 2 or 3 tiers above every single guy we just named. It changes the entire organization in 1 second.
Yeah, they would instantly become a significantly better team. Like imagine a rotation where you have Skubal, McLean, Senga, Minaya, Clay Holmes, because you can't forget Clay Holmes, Peterson, Sproat, Tong. You have all these options. I know one of those guys would eventually get traded for Tarik Skubal, but just telling you about the options that we have and then the loaded farm system too, they have room to make more. You can go get Skubal and still improve this team in other ways that will make this actually a complete roster for the first time in a while.
You go from basically heading into the season. If the Mets go into the season with the exact rotation right now, which not saying they will, I do not think there's any chance they do.
No,
but you probably have like the 21st best rotation in baseball. I'd say with our guys now, 20th between 19th and 23rd best rotation in baseball. You get Skubal and you put them on top of what we have. I would tell you it's second or third. Truthfully,
yeah.
It's probably only clearly behind the Red Sox. I mean the Dodgers, and maybe seeing if Garrett Cole's 100% of himself. Maybe the Yankees challenge for that as well.
Mariners too.
Let's see what another year, because I think Bryce Miller right now is more of a question mark, much more than he was last year, and we need to see if Brian Wu has a major surgery. But I think these are all top 5 types of rotations. But that's with getting the one guy to throw on top, you tie the whole thing together, and it vaults you that much.
Yeah, I mean Tarik Skubal is just that good. Him alone in a rotation puts you in the top 10 probably automatically.
Even just to talk about getting him and possibly re-signing him. So we talked about the idea that we think that's actually more possible than some might think, even though he's a Scott Boras client, just making him the highest paid pitcher ever. I do wonder if you can even kind of get him for under $40 million luxury tax penalty per year, depending on deferrals, depending on signing bonus and everything, maybe front loading, back
Can
loading,
somebody
whatever
else
you wind
do
up
a
doing.
deferral besides fucking the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani and Sean Manaea?
I also wonder what does it look like to try and go to Skubal and Boris before the open market, being like, we have these deferrals. Like, you see that guy on your team? He doesn't have deferrals. Why are we going to get deferrals? And if you say because of market restraints, market what's it called? Market environment, like, oh, we'll just go to the open market then. We'll see you guys later. So the leverage idea of this will be funny if you actually, again, we're 17 steps ahead of real life right now because this is the dream offseason. Why not? We're talking about Tarik Skubal's potential contract extension, how you actually are able to do that, and then what team building looks like if you have $125 million of luxury tax tied up in 3 guys.
And I will say this, as while we are saying it's a dream offseason, these are all totally doable. These are all things that, this one is totally doable. Like, the Mets are very much in it for Skubal. Again, the Tigers shouldn't trade him. They should keep him there forever. But as long as he's available, not signed to an extension with the Tigers, I think the Mets are one of the front runners.
And now knowing that even last year he was only offered 4 for 80, like, I don't think that's a good faith negotiation or good faith offer from the Tigers. That's not a guy who probably even now is that motivated to stay there long term.
Coming off the Cy Young, that's crazy. That's crazy that was your offer. Like, we all knew he was a top 5 pitcher last year coming into the season. Then he did it again. You're like, he's the best pitcher in baseball.
And again, you're at the time, like, you're trying to buy out 2 years of arbitration where Skubal, I think, is going to make, I think last year was 12 or 13. I mean, last year I think it was about 20, and this year is going to be 25 in his last year of arbitration. So right there, that's 2 years, $45 million. You've already kind of ruined what that offer even could be and should be.
Bad, disrespectful. All right, we know we want Skubal. Next up, we got to figure out what's going on with Pete and Edwin. And truthfully, in a dream scenario, I'd like them both back. I think there's a world where both of these guys are back. Who do you think is more likely, though, James?
The only thing that's throwing me off is that freaking Andy Tacoma article we both read a week and a half ago. But I still think that
he's losing his fastball.
I still think Edwin has to be for sure the more likely guy. It just seems like this is something that no one wants to change. The fact that he already is, by AAV, the highest paid reliever in baseball. The fact that we could basically just be like, here's 2 more years in that same AAV. You can still be the highest guy in baseball. You get 2 more years of security. That to me feels like more of a no-brainer than Pete, where we know that last year Pete and the Mets and David Stearns and Steve Cohen, it was kind of a pure impasse. It never seemed tenuous he wasn't going to be there, at least from our perspective, but it does seem like he wants something different than the Mets are willing to give him. And that's kind of where the sticking point seems to be. Yeah,
the one thing that gets me caught up with Edwin is how you mentioned the 2 years. He might want 4 and be like,
2 more.
Good. He might want like a 4 or 5 year contract, $100 million. And I don't think that's ridiculous for Edwin to ask. That's where I get nervous about what Stearns and Cohen might be willing to do for a closing pitcher. That's the one worry. I will say, though.
Yeah, but again, also at the same time,
we saw how important closers and ending the game is at the end of a series, especially in the World Series. Jeff Hoffman giving up the home run to Miguel Rojas, and then the Dodgers scrambling to have anybody but their relievers pitch. Having a guy like Edwin, I know in the past we've talked about that Stearns would love to trade Edwin in his contract, but now I've flipped. Because he's so money, because he's so cash, it's got to be so easy to build out the rest of the bullpen where you can have some chaos, you can have some fun, knowing that when you have a lead, 3, sometimes even 4, 5, 6 outs are guaranteed by Edwin Diaz.
And I think there's also part of the idea of a dream offseason, but also in the dream offseason, we're always going to have to be a little bit realistic. That's just who Mark and I are. We can't let our minds get that crazy. You know that if you do sign Edwin, you kind of give up a bit of the rest of the bullpen because, again, he's going to be the highest paid reliever in baseball next season, whether it be for the Mets or for somebody else. But he is so good that I think that's worth it. But then the question becomes, how long is Edwin Diaz this good? And I think
the real question.
That's a conversation we haven't really even actually had yet on this show, just funny enough, based on everything else that's gone on. The people in the Messed Up Discord were talking a lot about that the other day. If you guys are not in the Messed Up Discord, we'll drop the link for that below. Lots of great conversations in there. Lots of great folks hanging out. But we always talk about the fact that Edwin is just simply the 2-pitch guy. 2-pitch guy, 2-pitch guy. He's never even been close to getting a third one going here. And as you age, you're going to naturally lose velocity. Like, he's gone from 100 to a 99 to a 97 over the last 4 years. So maybe it is more possible than we think because you don't actually need that. Even Chapman, though, has a few more pitches. But
Chapman is also built very differently than Edwin. Edwin is a gangly string bean where Aroldis Chapman's pumping iron and the dude's fucking built like a brick shithouse.
And the thing about Edwin is that even as he is losing velocity, he's not losing extension. You don't lose your extension. His arms are not going to. I mean, we know the legs were different sizes last year, but his arms are not getting shorter. He still strides the whole way down the damn mound. So I do have faith that while Edwin Diaz is 31 now, even if you sign him through his age 35 season, right now you sign him through his age 33 season, even if it goes down to 94.5, 95, with the extension, I still think he's a plus, maybe not the best closer in the league 3 years from now, but I still think you have at least 2 more years of him being a clear, absolute bona fide top 2 guy.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then just to talk a little bit more about Pete, obviously, I mean, if you look at WRC plus, I think Pete had the highest WRC plus among qualified first basemen this year. You're looking in terms of just sheer offensive firepower numbers. Pete is up there with the best. There's no doubt about it. So the conversation that we'll have after this is about replacing Pete, because regardless, if we don't get Pete, we need a new Pete. We need a new first baseman, but he's the best option out there to play first base for the New York Mets next season.
I think so, definitely. And there's a lot of people right now throwing around this idea of, Josh Naylor, because I think Josh Naylor became very famous and very noteworthy this postseason. I think Josh Naylor is a great player, but he's someone that from the outside, I think you like what Josh Naylor does a lot more, but from the inside, when he does 6 weeks of a 480 OPS, but then he goes blazing hot after that, which is not so dissimilar to Pete. It does feel different. And I think it is still a lot. Again, this is going to be a big take right here. The 15 extra home runs mean a lot to me. I love dingers.
Me too, 100%.
And I think the way this Mets team is built out right now, I think the home runs are even more valuable to us because Soto is a home run hitter, but he's not top of the league home run hitter. Francisco Lindor, you can count on.
Is.
Well, he kind of was this year. Yeah, probably maybe he still will be. But him, Lindor, we'll know the deal is going to be Nimmo. We're going to talk about him more in a sec. But you just need some home runs. The team right now doesn't have the most elite crop of next level hitters in the league. It covers up a lot of the issues that you could come across.
Yeah, this is where sometimes OPS is not the same. Because you can look at an OPS and they can be the same, but then you see 15 extra home runs from Pete as opposed to like the 20 maybe extra hits that Josh Naylor has. I'm going to take the home runs over those extra hits every single time.
And a lot of the bat speed data that we have, there was a great tweet the other day by Justin Choi. Justin has done work for Fangraphs before, and he puts out a lot of great public data that we can all see. He did his own bat speed aging curve that looks really great to me. And it's something that we've kind of hypothesized on in the past, that there is a bit of a stagnation of your bat speed in these early 30s years. And then the real downtick will come once you're 35, 36 years old. And we keep talking about, again, this is our dream offseason. Wanting Pete back, but being scared of 36-year-old Pete Alonso.
Yes.
And this is their dream offseason. So again, we get back to like the 4 for 120 for Pete, 4 for 110. You start to get in a situation where I think that you're still getting an elite player for a few more seasons.
Would you rather sign Pete 4 for 120 or 5 for 125?
4 for 120. Just take off the extra year no matter what. And,
okay.
But let's even say this, part of our dream offseason, and this is kind of how we're going to move on, talk a little bit about this. Part of the dream offseason, I think, is building the best team for next year as possible. And there's a good chance that the best Mets team next year doesn't have as much Pete Alonso playing the field. And I don't know if that's something that he's willing to accept at this point yet, but I think it's going to be a huge part of negotiations, both for the Mets and for every other team, to anchor Pete more so as a DH, and then for the Mets specifically, part of our dream offseason, just get more athletic. We need to be better defensively. Watching the end of this World Series, the types of bang-bang plays, the types of defenders that these teams had in almost every position on the field as these games got tight, you can feel the magnitude of it. That throw that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. made that made you viral, Mark, in Game 3 before the chaos there, it's not a play Pete Alonso could ever make in the history of this world. Pete Alonso cannot throw a ball that hard. Just can't. Especially not on target. There's no chance of that. So it's just understanding how much little things are affecting every position. The Mets' dream offseason, to me, probably includes Pete Alonso being on the team, but not being the full-time first baseman.
Hey, we've told you about Huel's new Daily Greens ready-to-drink can, but also we do not want to forget about the OG.
Your favorite. You love that chocolate peanut butter flavor.
I do.
You and Kratz love that chocolate peanut butter flavor.
That's my favorite one. Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
The breakdown.
The vanilla, also good, but when they sent me the chocolate peanut butter, it's like a dessert, but it's not.
35 grams of protein, no added sugar, gluten-free for your boy, under $5 per meal because it's a meal and a drink. 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. Huel makes healthy eating simple. They also just launched into Target stores nationwide. Try both products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with the exclusive code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Use that code, fill out the post-checkout survey to help support FT. Get after it, FT fam.
Yeah, I mean, Pete as DH just makes sense. And I think for Pete, a lot of the times this conversation is because he wants to make the Hall of Fame. I think all these guys do. They want to win, but they also want their legacy. They want to be considered one of the greatest of all time. And we know when you play DH, doesn't have as much shine as if you were a first baseman. I mean, Joe Mauer played catcher for less games than he played first base, I believe. People still talk about him like a catcher. So it's all about the narrative thing. And for Pete, he's talked about he wants to be one of the greatest home run hitters of all time. You hear Boris talk about how he's the best power hitter in baseball all the time. Narrative right there. All the narrative is there. So Pete is definitely focused on the narrative by the end of his career that he was a first baseman, not a DH.
And again, maybe that's just something he kind of might have to get over a little bit.
He definitely has to get over it.
You have to look inside yourself and be like, okay, for as long as I've been in this team, there keeps being a spot where we can't get over the hump. Like, you have to then start using anything possible. You don't even want to blame yourself as a person in these situations, but just taking a real honest look. What's the best version of this Mets team? Especially when there's a relatively affordable, great defensive first baseman out there in Ryan O'Hearn, who could work as a great platoon partner for Pete, because Pete can still play first base when they got a lefty on the mound and O'Hearn's going to be on the bench. A situation like that where he's still getting his 50 to 70 games of first base in the season, but in the other days, giving up a little bit of what you want for yourself and letting the team improve because someone else is a better defensive player than you would be great. Would be honestly awesome to watch.
And again, dream. I'm happy having Pete Alonso play 162 games at
Thrilled.
first base next year. No complaints from me. In a dream world, he plays a little DH and we get another first baseman that can also hit there too, because one of the big problems was we didn't really have a legit DH. I know Jesse Winker was hurt. That was a big part of the problem, but we can't go into a season where like Starling Marte is getting a lot of the DH at bats.
No, and that's part of this next, like this same dream scenario where with Pete being a DH, she's getting another trustworthy position player. Because as it's heading into right now, based on the guys on this Mets roster, like, we're talking about Pete. Mark Sanchez is penciled in as a first baseman, and Ryan Mauricio is penciled in as a DH, with Tyrone Taylor still penciled in as a center fielder. And that's including a bench of players under contract of, you ready for this name, Nick Madrigal.
He's under contract?
I think he's under contract. Roster
He's a
Resource has him as
deal?
that. Luis Angel Acuna and Jared Young. So if I'm telling you that group position players, even with the massive trust that you and I have for Brett Baty and Francisco Alvarez, you just need another guy there who's going to be a guy. You have to find a guy.
Yeah, they need to find some, like you said, more athletic, better defensively players, guys who can help out this roster, because there is not a lot of athleticism, especially with the guys on the corners, the older guys in the outfield. It's just, we need to find a way to be better, and you heard Stearns talk about that a lot. Maybe part of the way to get some better guys too is maybe moving on from Brandon Nimmo. I know this is going to sound maybe crazy to some, but as good as Nimmo is, it's a similar kind of conversation with Pete where it's like, oh, it's great. Brandon Nimmo's awesome. We know the value he brings to his team, but it's kind of been part of the same group of guys that can't get over that hump.
And at the same time, he does a lot of things that you like a baseball player to do, especially now at this point in his career. Like, Brandon Nimmo can hit for power. Brandon Nimmo's not
Although
a
he's
bad
given up
defensive.
the on-base stuff, which kind of is weird.
Well, we're talking about that, though, a little bit in both ways, where it's like sometimes the home runs are valuable. But he's still, again, if the on-base percentage should just get back to 350, it doesn't have to get back to 400, but just up from 320. There's been a lot of push and pull for Brandon Nimmo. And I think he's a guy, you don't really say this a lot, but he's really maximized his abilities a lot.
Yes.
Like, Brandon Nimmo's development as a player, and we've watched his whole career. He's played 1,000 games as a Met. Can't remember the last guy that did that. It's cool to see, but at the same time, the best version of this team just might think about the arms we saw in this World Series game. I talked about Vlad before, but like, even just the confidence that someone like Andy Pages made in Game 7, going up and getting that ball in center field when he's had the worst World Series ever. Like, it's just there's something about knowing the strength you can bring to a team and having the confidence to bring them when you're ready to.
Yeah, and Brandon Nimmo defensively, it's just not that guy anymore. And offensively, while there's still some good stuff going on there, not going to say he's a bad hitter by any means. We saw the ebbs and flows of the season with him. It's something that maybe doesn't fit as well for this Mets team, this Mets roster moving forward. Now, you would only trade Nimmo if that means you're getting better at other positions. This is not a sell Nimmo, get rid of him, get prospects. This is a major leaguer for major leaguer move. I don't know who it would necessarily be. It's a big contract. Brandon Nimmo has no trade clause. He might never want to leave the Mets. He might want to be here for the rest of his life, which is probably why he signed that contract, along with the fact that it was so much money. But having Nimmo, having Vientos, having Soto, similar guys where it's like corner guys, not particularly great defensively at their positions, you'd love to be able to have them DH sometimes as well, like if Pete's playing first base against a lefty or whatever that scenario is. You can't really have these redundant pigeonholed players as much as you are. Soto is the exception because he is so unreal offensively.
I think that also plays into his dream offseason where, you might put him in the thumbnail, but I'm sure some Mets fans will be like, give me Kyle Schwarber to be the DH dream offseason where
I'd take him.
100%. But in the dream offseason, I do think if you can't move on from a guy like Brandon Nimmo, and who knows what winds up happening with someone like Mark Vientos and Pete Alonso, it's like you just can't. This Mets roster isn't built in a way right now where you can really probably clog up with an everyday DH.
The only guy you could is Schwarber. That's the difference.
Because he's that good of a hitter.
That good, yeah.
But in the dream offseason, is he part of your dream offseason?
Yeah, he would be. In a dream offseason, I'd want Pete at first, Kyle Schwarber DH. We trade Vientos, go get some center, go get Luis Robert, put him in a package for Luis Robert, even if you need to include another prospect or whatever it would be. And I'm okay with leaving Nimmo. I'm okay with having second base kind of be a little mysterious right now between Jet, McNeil, Acuna, whatever it's going to be. That's the one position I'm willing to have be the question mark, but only if we were to have Schwarber, Alonso, those guys.
And again, Schwarber just getting another, how important home runs are. 40 home run bat is very important. But if you have Nimmo, Pete, Schwarber, and Soto on this roster, well, we will wind up having a lot of the same problems as last year, where you're just not going to be able to play defense like other teams.
But much better offense.
Significantly better offense. And we're going to have a lot of trade content coming to you guys this week. Both here, we're going to have 10 players the Mets are going to trade for this offseason, just to get a little clickbaity there. And also, if you guys aren't following the windup, we're going to have every single player in baseball that might get traded this offseason. And there's a bunch of first basemen on that list.
A ton of them. I also like, the old saying is what? The best offense is a good defense. I like saying the best defense is a good offense. You score so many runs, they can't catch up. You win. That's it.
This team, though, does need a bit of a refresh, like an update of these player archetypes.
You have to lean in either way. You can't be in the middle like the Mets were last year.
No, but the big reason this winds up in the middle is because a guy like Mark Vientos, who just has not proven himself enough to really go into next year with any kind of starting spot to call his own. And if he's a bench guy, you need to fill that bench with athletes everywhere to kind of
you need Jet
insulate
Williams.
him.
Yeah,
Jet Williams, Nick Morbido, like getting guys from the outside. And the position player pool of free agents offseason is light. I'll tell you guys that. That gives some added importance to a guy like Schwarber. But Cody Bellinger's a great player. He would be a good fit in this roster. I don't know if he's a great fit for Citi Field. We talked about Josh Naylor and Ryan O'Hearn. Past that first base, you're going to get Munetaka Murakami. You're going to get
Kazuma
Okamoto. Kazuma Okamoto, those guys are both posting. I think Okamoto's a great fit for the Mets as well. Murakami's an interesting one. I don't want Luis Rise or Paul Goldschmidt.
Nope.
I don't want Rhys Hoskins. I don't want Justin Turner. We're going to see if Brandon Lau's available for trade.
I don't want Carlos Santana.
No, not at all. Brandon Lau's probably the guy that gets a first baseman's mitt at some point over the next few years. I just don't know how well he can play it off the bat. Like this, there are a good amount of guys available. It's sometimes a little bit more difficult to find them. There will be an element of musical chairs with first baseman this offseason that the Mets are going to be right in the center of.
Yes, without a doubt. All right, let's talk about some bullpen now, because that was also a major issue for this team. As chaotic as it was and as good as Edwin Diaz is, we still need somebody. We need other guys, even if Edwin is there. And if he's not there, then we definitely need a real closer.
So guys under contract right now, not including Edwin Diaz. You want me to run them through for you?
Go for it.
Oscar Brazoban.
Fuck yeah, bring him back.
Austin Warren.
I love Austin Warren. S tier.
Adbert Alzolay.
Mm-hmm.
Dickie Lovelady.
Yikes.
Justin Hagenman.
Okay.
Brandon Waddell.
Disgusting. Throw up.
Dylan Ross.
I don't even know. He throws 100.
Ryan Lambert.
Throws 100.
Alex Carrillo.
Throws 100.
Joe Jacques.
Don't know anything about Joe Jacques.
No, but this is to give a sense of who's under contract right now in this Mets team and what this bullpen is like. Again, AJ Minter will be healthy. He will be back a pitcher on this team.
But he could opt out, technically.
Yeah, technically can as an $11 million player option. And coming off a major injury, that's pretty serious. And Brooks Raley, a $5 million club option. So I am assuming, again, I was a shock effect. But I do think that those will be three veterans that we can pencil into this bullpen now.
True.
But with or without Edwin Diaz, need some fucking help back there.
Yeah, need some help. And the bullpen market, as always, is chaotic. It's crazy. Edwin Diaz is by far the best reliever available, which is also maybe part of the reason why he will opt out.
Yeah, but also there will be Raisel Iglesias. Robert Suarez probably will opt out as well. There's another name I'm not going to say. Devin Williams, Kenley Jansen. Those guys are probably not coming.
Who's the other name?
I mean, his name rhymes with Mayan Melsley.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But Kirby Yates coming off all of his injuries this year. Emilio Pagan coming off a great season of being a bit older. Sean Newcomb's a guy that came out awesome this year, reviving his career as a left-handed reliever. Luke Weaver, who was what a catastrophe that suddenly became. Kyle Finnegan, Hunter Harvey, who I like to get converted to a starter this year. A reunion with Steven Matz, who found himself as a decent reliever.
Don't you say that. Steve Cohen will never sign Steve Matz.
That's true. Brad Keller. Like, there's Sir Anthony Dominguez, who we know Jim Palmer doesn't like him, but he's still got great stuff. Like, it's Drew Pomeranz, somehow his third different career revival. Like, it's pure fucking chaos. But at the same time, you need to find the diamonds in the rough of there. And if the trade market is more suitable, the trade market's more suitable. But a lot of this, I think, does come down to Lambert and Dylan Ross being guys that have to be trusted in this bullpen next year.
They at least got to get a shot. I mean, they throw 100. What else do we need?
But Ryan Stanek throws 100.
Well, he saw stuff.
I mean, Miguel Castro, a bunch of these horrible reunions. Jonathan Loaiza in terms of guys who are going to be reclamation projects.
I would take a shot on him.
Like, there's a lot of chaos out there. Jordan Amano, another year removed from his Tommy John surgery. Like, there's going to be some throw up moments this offseason from relievers you guys are going to see the Mets sign. But at the same time, we have to throw so much shit at the wall because of how empty this bullpen is right now, unless we get a lot more minor leaguers stepping up.
And also at the same time, we've thrown this out too. Jeff McNeil for Carlos Estevez, who says no.
We haven't thrown it out yet, technically. We said it, but it's not been thrown out in this podcast officially.
Thrown it out officially. Jeff McNeil for Carlos Estevez, I think, is on the board.
That's Mark jumping into the future. But there's always going to be relievers available via trade. Absolutely, always, forever. And there's always going to be stars that you can turn into relievers. Like, you want to go take Robert Stevenson and his massive contract from the Angels? I'm sure they'd probably love to do that. Like, there's always going to be...
They think they're winning, so...
Actually, yeah, true, maybe. There's always avenues to do this. I'm sure Jojo Romero, he's going to be available this year, lefty from the Cardinals, who I love. AJ Puckins last year, team control. I know the Diamondbacks have no one, but just to trade a guy in his last year, team control is a huge risk with a huge reward. Like, there will be interesting relievers available. But this is going to be a big year to see what this Mets pitching development has and how many of these guys we can kind of start building from our own ashes.
Yeah, 100%. Because we've seen the starting pitchers. Now we got to see some of these bullpen guys in the minor leagues, how they've progressed.
Where's our Abner Uribe? We need our Abner Uribe.
Ryan Lambert, Dylan Ross. Those could be those guys.
That's what I'm saying. Those can't be, even though Dylan Ross can't throw a strike. When Ryan Lambert gets called up, me and you and him, 6 eggs. That was the deal.
God, I forgot about that. I forgot about drinking eggs.
Gotta clear out the colon before that happens.
Not going to eat anything for a week before I drink 6 eggs. All right. Last thing of the Dream offseason for the New York Mets. I do want some actual starting pitching depth, though. I know Mets fans and Mets people on Twitter are saying the cursed words of "we have too much pitching," which you can never have too much pitching. And shame on anyone if you hear anybody say the Mets have too much pitching. Turn off the content. This is the one time I will say, idiots, dummies, stupid. You can never have too much starting pitching. Look at the Dodgers. Never too much. I'd love to have someone else in between in this Dream offseason, Skubal and McLean. I'd love to have a 2. I'd love to have a Freddie Peralta. I mean, why not? If we're making trades, he's very available.
It's the Dream offseason. I think I'd rather even go out and do the 1 year for Freddie Peralta than possibly giving up the draft pick to get a Dylan Cease. And I also Dream offseason. I don't really want to give Framber Valdez a 6 or 7 year contract. No. I don't think that's very prudent in any way, shape, or form.
Dream offseason, I'll give him 1 for 30.
Yeah, but then you're still giving up that draft pick, though. And I do wonder now maybe the Mets are more confident in their minor league system. They're finally willing to do qualifying offers for guys, sign guys, do that draft pick. But you have to be confident enough in the pitcher to give them enough years where it still makes sense to give up that draft pick. Maybe Michael King is that guy. We know he's now opted out. He will be a free agent. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Zach Allen's another guy who will be very interesting. So I think he had a much better second half than people realize.
Could be that too.
You want to... Again, we'll do realistic offseason maybe next week and give you guys the nitty gritty. We're going to talk about Zach Eflin, but this is not the time for that. Like, Ranger Suarez is going to be the hot name because of how good he's been the last few years. But do you give a guy who throws 90 miles an hour, 7-year contract? I probably don't do that even in my Dream offseason. You really don't. Like, that's why we led this with Tarik Skubal. The Dream offseason begins and just ends with him.
Yes, that is where the dream starts. If your Dream offseason does not have Tarik Skubal being the number 1 move, again, turn it off. What the fuck are we talking about?
He's got to be on this team. I'm getting a little too confident he is on this team because in terms of what teams have stuff to give and what team has a reason to jump out and do this, it just begins and ends with the Mets. Something you kind of have to make happen.
How confident were you with Soto? Because I think I was the one who was like, he's a Met. He's a Met. There's no way.
Medium confident with Soto.
You were of the thing of like, there's too much Mets smoke with Soto, right?
I was like, it just keeps happening and happening. I did say I think we're always going to have the biggest offer, which I think always gave us an advantage. But I did think at the end of the day, it would be the Yankees. But here, we have the most money. We have the best prospects. Like this, unless the Dodgers make Emmett Sheehan available, and even with them, we could probably still maybe trump them with Jonah Tong. Like, I don't know who has a better package to offer than the Mets right now.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But boy, oh boy, this offseason is going to be interesting as hell for the New York Mets. That's our dream offseason. Go get the best pitcher in baseball, sign the best first baseman power hitter in baseball,
Get the best reliever.
get the best closer back. You know, very realistic, right? No, that's why it's a dream offseason. But we'd love to know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section. Let us know. Dream offseason. Who are some guys you want the Mets to bring in? Remember to subscribe to Mets'd Up, as well as follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Download, give us a review, rating, all that good stuff. You can follow James on Twitter at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with the C. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you all in the next episode. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Go Mets.